You allow people to speak their piece, not controlling what they say.
And the biggest thing that you can do now is, and as Stephen A. said it, is for him to come on the show. It's for him to talk more about this discussion. I think the biggest thing, though, that you had two different types of comments. On social media, they seen it. Cam, why would you do this? XYZ. First of all, it's not Cam's fault that he was on here. Obviously, it's more my fault, I guess. But also when people watch the full show, they say, you know what? We needed this conversation. We don't get enough of these two different of opinions. We love this type of interview because we both were allowed, or everybody on the platform or in the interview were allowed to say their piece. And let's not miss Mr. Mark too here. He said something about Stephen A., but first he started with you. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, oh, he just got up here to talk junk about Stephen A. His original plan was to get up here and no, Jason, what's your beef with me?
Correct.
What's your smoke with me? What's your thoughts on me so I can...
What our plan was, or my plan, let me not bring you into it. My plan was always this. Jason, you speak about my fashion decisions.
Correct.
And me wearing these crazy hats. But brother, you were on TV, right? Mm-hmm. With hats on.
Hello and welcome to Sports Spin, where we take a sports story and we spin it. I'm Sun-EB7 and thank you for joining. This is the second one. The other one, man, I think that one was about 40 minutes. I got a lot to say about some of these things and I'm trying to keep it short. I have a little script, but I'll go off script because there's so many things to be said. That said, let me see if I can do it this time and, keep the time down a little bit. I don't want to do a part 2 or none of that. I just want to say a few things, get my little word in. It doesn't have anything to do with me, but it does have something to do with the landscape of the podcast world. Now, am I talking to everybody? No. And if you don't want to hear it, if you don't want to listen, then you don't. I'm giving a different perspective because I think different. And because I think different, I see things different. When I'm watching it, I'm seeing what they're saying, and I'm actually understanding why they said it. But I have a difference in opinion of it. So this is not to trash another podcaster. I ain't getting into all that. I don't do drama. I don't do all that. Yeah, I don't roll like that. So, but it is to bring a different perspective out here because things are being said. And I think that responsibility and accountability is important. So I'm just going to bring up a couple of topics that was said. And I use Cam's video because he had the most detailed video of what happened. So anyway, I keep having to cut things out. Yeah, because it's just so much to say. So without getting into, I'm not a drama person, so I don't get into all that. I'm not scared of any of it. It's just, for what? For what? We're all out here entertaining. That's what I'll call it, entertaining. Some feel like they're reporting the news. Some people get it first. Some people get it last. Whatever. Everybody's got their own flavor. And everybody deserves to be out here. That's fine. So what I want to do is I saw some angles. I saw a lot of stuff on this Cam Newton versus Stephen A. Smith versus Jason Whitlock thing. And I've kind of I've touched on this before. I can't do anything about it, but I can give a different perspective. I can give a little bit of knowledge. And so, even though none of this is my business, and it's not the reason for the video. The video is for a different perspective. Cam made a point on his show that I can't control what others say on my show. You can have people on your show, but you cannot control them. Now, here's why that was significant to me. Because right before that, you said First Take run a tight ship and they have meetings and they know what everybody's going to talk about. That sounds like controlling what other people say. It sounds like that ESPN and First Take has a brand and they're not going to let you mess that up by putting something out there. And it's funny because even with visitors, they don't say nothing out of line. Why? Because First Take ain't having it. So why do you? And why do you feel like if they come on your show, you don't get to say you can't stop them? I'm not big as any of these guys. And I commend them for how big they've gotten, how they've used their career to advance themselves and get big and have all these viewers. And that's awesome. But if you come on my show, you're going to know ahead of time what you can't say. And that's going to be it. Because I'll cut the show and deal with it. I'm just saying, don't tell me you cannot tell people what they can't say on your show. That is malarkey. So I know Cam is a good guy and I know he means well. I know that. But talking about you can't control what people say on your show is like saying when somebody come over your house, you can't control what they say. So if they come in your house and call your wife the B word, you can't control what they say. So let's just go on and have dinner. Yeah. Because that's exactly what you said. And that's not what you should be saying. You can control what people say on your show. And you cannot become distant once it's said. Once the cat's out the bag. Once they say what they say, you don't get to separate yourself. You're complicit. If it's said on your show, it represents you. Your show is your brand. He didn't say that on Stephen A. Smith's show. He didn't say that on any of the other podcasts. He said it on 4th and 1. That's where everybody's seen it. Who owns 4th and 1? Then you're complicit. Otherwise, you'd have had a talk with him and said, listen, I ain't got nothing to do with you and him. We're just coming on to clear the air about us. That's where it should have stopped. Now, again, who am I? I just have a different perspective. That's all. People can take it or leave it. I'm dispelling the things that get put out here because people will do that. People will come out and say things. I don't know that they believe it all the time. And it's up to them. I've defended Cam a lot of times. But I've also called Cam out when he said something that I thought was, yeah. So this is one of those times. Now that's BS. Him and Peggy talking about. So here's another thing. Peggy came out and said, well, don't think that he came on the show just to talk about Stephen A. Smith. When he first said, I'm not going to talk about Stephen A. because that's your boy. So you took that for face value. You don't think that was a test. You don't think that he asked him basically what he said. I'm going to translate what Jason did. He tested you. He said, I ain't going to talk about your boy because I know that's your boy. And he wanted to see what you say. When you said, oh, no, I ain't got nothing to do with it. It's my show. I'm just here. You opened the floodgates. And he unloaded on Stephen A. I'm not here to protect Stephen A. He's a millionaire. I'm 35 cents from having a quarter. He got all the money. I ain't protecting him. I'm calling a spade a spade. So he tested you because he was smart enough to know that you could have at that point said, yeah, let's keep it between us. I'll let you and Stephen A. handle that. But you didn't do it. You opened it up. And then he took advantage of that. So now he's not only heard on Jason Whitlock's show, he's now heard on 4th and 1. You see why Stephen A. called you out? I agree. You had him on your show. You have a responsibility to tell him what he can and can't talk about. And if you let him talk about him, then you have to defend him or ask the questions that make him say what he needs to say to prove what he's saying. You can't just let people come on your show and bear false witness. Now, I'm not saying that Stephen A. was false. Jason Whitlock was false about anything he's saying. I don't know. I don't care. I didn't listen to none of that. Why would I listen to that? What one guy says about another. If you're listening to that, that's your problem. I don't care. If you don't like him and you over here talking about him, then you scared. Because if you don't don't like him, you'll be over there talking to him if you wasn't scared. So I don't get into that. I don't go one place. I don't go to place B to talk about place C. If I got a problem with place C, I'm going to C. Serious. I don't get into that other stuff. So I don't care what they do. I'm not calling them scared per se. I'm just saying there's a way you handle business. There's a way you deal with things. Dealing with things out in the streets like that, it's just, you know, and again, these guys have millions of followers, or, you know, they have a lot of followers. So, but those are, to me, it's bloodthirsty because people watch when you start trashing another person. But kick them some knowledge and watch them just fade. I bet you about 50 people watch this, and maybe not even that, probably 17. Because I'm telling what it should be and what it is. I'm not talking about all this gossipy crap. They don't want that. They want the drama. They want the fighting. They want the battling. That's something for you guys. You probably want to look at what you're doing. Take a different approach. You know, hey, do what you got to do. But that being said, because you got the 2 million followers and I don't. So maybe that's the way you want to go. And that's getting you the followers and the viewers. Fine. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to be honest with you. I wish I could get into that. I have 4 million when I get done talking about people. But I'm not into that. I'm not into that. But like I said, all money and good money. But so when he said that he was testing, right? And lastly, you know, I just want to clear up that, you know, this is not an indictment on Cam Newton. This is a perspective from Sun-EB7 of what I see and how I see it. Just as a recap, I agree with Stephen A. If you're going to let him say it, then ask the proper questions. So you know he's coming and you know what he wants to talk about. If you're going to let him say it, ask the proper questions to make him prove what he's saying so that it's truth, right? Jason got a big channel. He does his thing too. Everybody has what they have and what they need. I don't think Jason needs to go on your show and talk about another person. It's just you. Because the first person he had a problem with, well, not the first, but he did have a problem with Cam. So to me, that show should have been about him and Cam. You know, all the things he said about Cam. Yeah, I even had a show about that because it was a little strong. I think we should stick to the opinions of others and not the person. But I can't tell everybody what to do. I wish I could, because then I'd tell them. If I owned YouTube, you get a strike if you start trashing another person's personal. If you air his dirty laundry, his personal, you'd get a strike. Get your ass off here. I would. I'm not saying it's that way now, and that I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying that's how I feel about it. The issues are the issues. And when a person disagree with your viewpoint about the game, does that mean you get to disagree with his lifestyle? No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. It should stick with the point. But that's just my take. That's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. Hope you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, just remember, this sports story has been spun. Take care.